Hello everyone, I love card games, so it should not come as a surprise when I say I'm a big fan of Slay the Spire, with my biggest achievement as of now being Ascension 20 with the Ironclad. So, I wrote a program to play for me. Okay, not really, but I did the right one that is able to pick cards in my place. Not only that, I decided I will make a challenge for myself. Starting from Ascension 0, I'm going to make and improve the code of my program until it can beat Ascension 20. So, let me show you how the code works for the first episode. Each card will have 3 values that will be used in decision making. The type, which can be either attack, defense, or utility, which is literally anything else in the game. Then we have the card rarity, and the weight that will be used to define how much the code will favor this card over others of the same type. Now, you may be asking, how did you choose the weights? Well, it was quite simple actually. I just borrowed the tier list made by Frost before the release of Slay the Spire 2 and assigned each tier a point value, ranging from -1 for F tier up to 5 for S. To decide which cards to pick, we will have a deck, which will contain values representing how many of each attack, defense and utility cards we have. And using this cool formula, it will determine how important a specific card is at the current moment. Basically, it's going to try to equalize these values by prioritizing the lowest out of the 3. Oh, and one last thing. I still did not implement a way for the engine to skip cards, meaning we will have to play without skipping until the program can do so. And with the coding stuff out of the way, I'd say it's time to begin. First off, for Neon's Blessing I choose to go for the random relic, and I am rewarded with a great option in the form of the Captain's Will. And after deciding which path to go, we are in for our first encounter, and soon after we are presented with the first choice of the game: Flex, Intimidate and Wild Strike. Now, since the starting deck has a low utility score, the engine will prioritize Flex and Intimidate, and consider the higher rarity of Intimidate compared to Flex. Even though they are in the same tier, the engine will prefer to choose Intimidate. We proceed to the second encounter, and the engine decides to take another Intimidate to increase the utility value. Now, since we are not allowed to skip cards, I decided to go for a path with less encounters. First off, we got the Goo and Destruct a Relic. Let's see what it is. We then grab a couple of potions and decide to go towards the elite. We get an encounter and manage to clear it pretty easily, as it is still the easy pull, and the engine decides to choose in favor of Flex, yet another utility card. I'm starting to notice a small issue here. Regardless, we get the elite, and it is Gremlin Nob, with no extra attacks and 3 skills in the deck. Great. We managed to beat him by using a potion, and we get a Regal Pillow and another copy of this armor. Okay, not gonna lie, our deck is not looking great. I decided to upgrade the Bash and remove an Intimidate at the shop, since at this point we are starting to get a bit overloaded on utility cards. We then get a Tiny Chest from the random relic, and another chest randomly after, containing Pennib. Finally, something to help with damage. We then proceeded to the next encounter, which is also cleared pretty easily, opting to use the Fire Potion to save a bit of cash, and finally a good utility card in the form of Seeing Red that the engine decides to pick. Finally getting the utility score close to the other ones. We then get some gold from the event and decide to pick the path with one extra encounter, since we desperately need more attack and defense cards. Slaver is beat pretty easily thanks to a series of good draws. And we get an attack potion and a ghostly armor. For the last encounter, we get the Fungi Rats, dispatch them, and get the best card in the game, Pommel Strike. We upgrade it and head to the boss, the Guardian. Turn 1, we force it to defense mode thanks to Pennib. Then we defend for a turn. Turn 3, we manage to apply some vulnerable. And defend once again. He's now preparing for the multi-attack, but we manage to almost fully block it, and we get him once again to defense. Shield up, not some more vulnerability, and we decide to pop the attack potion, since we have Pennib, and we get Bludgeon, so we use it immediately, and it's a pretty easy clear. Okay, let's see the 3 rare cards. Are Demon Form, Exhume, and Immolate. In these scenarios, the engine just picks the first one, which is why we end up with the Demon Form. It's not over though, because in the relics we get Astrolabe, which converts 2 attacks and a defense into Headbutt, another Pommel Strike, and Exhume, all upgraded. This helps a lot since we finally have some good attacks, and the Exhume, which is not insane right now, but can still help a bit by recycling Seeing Red if we get it in the right order. Here we are in Act 2, facing against the Collector. Our first fight is the Spheric Guardian. Thanks to Captain's Will, the fight is basically free since we can completely block the big hit on turn 3. And as a reward, the engine picks an upgraded Chuck It Off. After beating the Thieves duo and spending another potion to save some gold, the engine decides to take Reckless Charge, because it's the highest rarity card. We refuse the Vampire event since we have already removed several starter strikes, then continue to the act. The next few rewards are Second Wind, then Uppercut. Uppercut is especially huge, since up until now we have mostly collecting random utility cards, but now we finally have some good card quality. And we are only missing AoE, which is why the game sends me directly into Gremlin Leader as the next elite. It goes about as well as you'd expect. Without any AoE, every summon is annoying to deal with, to say the least. We barely manage to do anything before he summons again, and we have to take a 12 times 3 attack, and later even more damage. Somehow we manage to survive, but we leave badly wounded. Our reward is Frozen Egg, which upgrades all future powers, and Evolve, which I guess it's a power, not really what I was hoping for though. I then enter the treasure room, and after grabbing a question card, I immediately remember that the engine can only guess between 3 cards, so I have to save scam to not throw away the entire run and pick the Sapphire Key instead. The next few floors are also not very good. We find Snake Plant that takes another big chunk of our health and gives us a Barricade Plus, which I don't really love since we don't have a block engine established if we ignore Captain Will. But luckily we found the next shop, a great relic, which is Brimstone. I decided to just buy it because even though we lack multi-attacks, we are in desperate need of a reliable way to scale without needing to play Demon Form first. While I'm there I also pick up Offering, and let's say from this point on the deck finally started to perform well. We get through Spheric Guardian and Sentinel with little trouble and get a Ghostly Armor as a reward. Then we upgrade Offering and it's already time for the boss. Turn 1 I decided to use Uppercut and activate Evolve. Then equip Demon Form and Barricade, willingly taking 16 damage to get both powers online. Next we get a pretty mid-end, so I just defend and do some cheap damage. And finally, we're able to start dealing damage. We use Offering and we are on our roll. Brimstone and Demon Form scaling add up very quickly, so we kill both Torchheads. Then Collector applies the debuff, but it is way too late for that to matter. So in a couple of turns we just win. For the reward, the engine selects Impervious, which is honestly perfect. It buys time for Demon Form, works well with Barricade, and gives us one more way to survive the early turns. As for the boss relics, I take Mark of Pain, since at this point the deck is already full of random cards anyways, and thanks to Evolve the wounds aren't completely useless anyways. And just like that, Act 2 is complete, and it is now time for the third and final act. The Act 3 boss is done in Deca. I decided to route towards the late shop, so we can hopefully remove some of the questionable additions the engine may make along the way. The extra energy from Mark of Pain immediately proves very useful. Being able to play powers early is pretty much what the deck needed, so we can start to scale earlier. The Darklings get demolished because of our scaling, and after a bit we just pick up Bloodletting. Then we get the Fall event, which is normally extremely annoying, as you risk losing key cards for the strategy, but this time we just removed a strike because we kept too many of them along the way. Then we get Whetstone, and after another fight we just pick up Pommel Strike. At the shop we decided to delete a Defend, Direct In, then upgrade Bloodletting and go toward Elite, which is the big head. As you can imagine, having 3 free turns to scale is pretty damn good, so we have no problems winning. We get Lizard Tail, which is great insurance for the boss, and Windfire, which is finally a card that can synergize with the Stern scaling. We then beat up Transient and get another Ghostly Armor. Then we get Smooth Stone from a chest, and we get an early shop. I decided to remove a Disarm, since I figured Brimstone makes it pretty much useless, and I'd rather have a card that deals damage like a Strike. We clear the next encounter and we get a Burning Pact. Then we head to the shop, but we are out of gold, so I just skip it. And then to the campfire to upgrade the Intimidate. And so last encounter we beat Darklings and get Dual Wield and the last choice. And with that, it is almost time. We rest one more time and we are standing in front of the last challenge, Donu and Deka. We immediately start by duplicating the uppercut with a potion and try to beat up Donu since we want to remove the enemy strength scaling. I then immediately waste a weak potion because I forgot that Deka starts with artifact as well. Turn 2 I use Fiendfire to take Donu to half health. And turn 3 we finally draw Offering, so I do some quick math and decide to use all of my attacks to take down Donu. And from there it's just Deka, and without the strength scaling it's just a matter of time. We do a couple of turns and the fight is easily won. So, can a program build a deck that can beat Slay the Spire? Yes. Granted, this was only Ascension 0, and the run exposed many major flaws with the engine. First off, it massively overvalues utility cards in the early game because of the low utility score. Secondly, it gives importance to the right in the decision making, even though right shouldn't really matter at all. And of course, most importantly, the engine is not able to skip cards currently, so this needs to be added for sure. Still, for now a win is a win, and for the next episode I'll be working on some of these issues, especially the skipping of course, before throwing the engine in Ascension 1, and I want to see how far it can get with this small upgrade. For now, if you have any suggestions or you've seen a flaw that I missed, feel free to tell me in the comments. Also, since this is my first video, if you have any feedback at all, feel free to let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, it helps out a lot and makes it easier for me to actually make those videos. With that, thank you for watching and see you next time. Peace.